Every time.
Yeah, just you give it to me. I'll do
I
it.
will. Okay, thank you. Please help me welcome Vitaly.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't fall down just yet.
Yeah.
Right. Hey everyone. Thank you very much for coming. I actually used what's the lightning talk, right? You say you used the
Yes.
open mic lightning talk.
Yes.
So the previous time I went to React Berlin, I used this thing. I highly encourage you all. It's a great start. So you start there and then you apply and give a talk here, for example.
Yes.
So yeah, my talk is called The Essence of Quality. Why I'm giving this talk? I am a quality enthusiast, and I still see that there are so many people who misinterpret quality, let's say. Like there is a quite popular myth in IT that testing code after it's written manually or automatically is assuring quality, while it's just controlling quality. So let us start. A few words about me. I'm quite old and I started my IT career when it was still Internet Explorer 5.5. Had all the fun with Opera 7. I did 13 years of JavaScript development, and I stopped when React was appearing. So I didn't use React much, sorry guys. I also was a QA, an engineering manager, mentor. I mentored several engineering managers. And now, for the last 3 years, I'm a developer advocate at Case. We are building quite a decent test management system. I also love animals. I used to live in Georgia, and it is quite hard to see how dire the situation is there with stray dogs. So I built a website for them with my fellow team of junior developers. I'll show it later. Anyway, yesterday I ate sushi. Not this particular sushi, but they looked really nice. And the whole night I spent having fun, let's say, after the sushi. They were off. I didn't expect that. And this lady, she saw a rucksack, a backpack advertisement on Amazon. It was just an image. So she purchased it. And as you see, it wasn't what she expected. So how do these two little stories, how are they connected? It is that we expect something of a product, and then if we don't get it, this is what low quality or bad quality is. And what's really interesting here is that we kind of intuitively feel how bad it is when the quality is low. Like when you're poisoned by sushi. I left a negative review on their website, not on their website, on Google Maps. I told my friends, never go to this place. I was angry. I still am. And there is actually a research in sociology that saying that it takes from 10 to 12 positive reviews to overcome one negative review. So if people see that there are 10 clients saying the restaurant is good, and one client said I saw a cockroach in my food or something like that, well, it's still gonna be hard for those good reviews to overcome the bad ones. And in this situation, you can claim the money, you can fix somehow. But what I'm saying here is that we hate when the quality is bad in real world, like when our phone breaks or when something is buggy. But then I see so many engineers not paying too much attention to quality when we are building software. And this is a bit sad. I know I was a manager for quite a while, and I know that when you have deadlines, when you impose deadlines on the teams, they will cut corners. So this is the whole thing. Like I care of quality, I care about it. I want people to pay more attention to it. So I have a question for you. Do you think your product, the product you're working on, is of good quality? I'm not asking for answers. I think that people should think about it. Like, am I building something which is of good quality? And then another thing, I'm 39 now, and I have 23 years of experience. I worked at companies where I earned a lot. I worked at companies where I earned less. But it is so good to work in a company and work on a product when you are happy. When, like, in the morning you wake up and you want to do the work. I wouldn't trade it for a bigger company with bigger salaries, but where I would be unhappy. So I think these two questions are very important for us human beings, because when I explain to my daughter, here is what I'm building, here it is my team, and she sees that they're smiling, she sees that we're enjoying it, I'm happier, and it's really cool. So it all comes to the essence of quality. There are two major standards, ISO standards. One is ISO 9000. On pretty much any device on the back, there is this engraved or like ISO 9000 compliance, which means that they certified for this particular standard. It's kind of a label of good quality. Of course, it's not, but it is some form of certification that every manufacturer of everything goes to and applies for. So this standard says that in material world, quality is a degree of a set of inherent characteristics fulfills requirements. So if I require this microphone to have certain decibels and certain characteristics, I write down the specification, I send it to the manufacturing facility, and if these two, the list and the microphone, if they match, then it is of good quality for me. In software, it is a bit harder because it talks now about satisfying. In real world, it also is about satisfying the client's needs more than requirements. But still, in software, this is very important. Like, you know, the apps, you intuitively feel if some apps are unusable, if they are just not nice to use, and some apps are better. And this is one of the degrees of quality as well. But essentially, these two definitions, they can be combined in a very simple one. Quality is a match between what is desired and what is produced. So in B2C, in software as a service, in software development, we either guess what the client wants, or we ask them what they want, but essentially we try to understand what they really want. Not all clients can explain what they really want. This is the base of the basic term of quality. It is just the match between what is desired and what is produced. If someone tells you that our product is 32% higher quality, well, then you have to ask, what is this 32% match of what to what? Because usually it's marketing bullshit. And then I add to this that there is an internal quality. So a capability or ability of our company to constantly produce something. So the sushi bar where I got those sushi, that awful sushi, they still focus on being able to produce sushi on a daily basis, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sets of sushis. They don't accumulate dirt on the kitchen because they will be screwed by the regulators. I hope in Germany cafes and sushi bars can be screwed by regulators, I do hope. So they don't accumulate dirt. I think it was just occasion with me, just some minor sleep. So in software, we tend to not see when the technical debt is accumulating, and I'm 100% sure every one of you had a project where it's so hard to touch the code that you would rather just leave the company or leave the project. But the best example of bad internal quality is some apps in the finance sector which are still written in COBOL. They are written really well, but you don't have people who can maintain them. So from this perspective, even the best code, it doesn't have defects. It has minor defects. It is really good code. And yet you can't say the system is of good quality because it is not maintainable. Next. So we spoke about what quality is and what internal quality is. And this is important for me, what quality assurance is. We're just making sure that we're building the right thing, the thing which matches the desires or requirements. and we're making sure we're building it the right way so the internal quality doesn't decrease. Because if we just do shitty code and put it to production, we have no tests, no nothing, we just don't do anything, tech debt will accumulate, internal quality will decrease, and we will stop being able to produce the right thing. And for us to be able to build the right thing, so let's say clients in a banking app need to be warned about some regulation which is coming. So the usual thing the products will do, they will just come up with a pop-up or with some piece of functionality that they think will satisfy the desires of the clients to understand the new regulations which the bank imposes on them. So in whole this information flow, information chain, there are clients, there are product managers, and there are teams. And in teams you have usually engineers and QA engineers. You have, or maybe even front-end engineers and back-end engineers if you're not full stack. But anyway, we have this information passing chain or information flow, and the more the links in this information chain, the worse the information is, because every single act of information transfer in telecommunication, in analog phones, in anything, in the speech, every single act of information transfer yields some information loss. In this picture, you see the kids' game, like when you whisper to someone's ear one word and then the person whispers as he perceived the word to another person. Yes, the information loss is intentional there. And yet, when I say I want something spicy and hot, and you will understand it different, like in your mind, the image will be different. So for us to overcome the inherent information loss that we have, I will have to explain to you what exactly I want. Like what it is hot for me. Is it so many Scovilles, like the numbers, the spiciness numbers, or does it mean that hot in terms of the heat from the microwave? So if you know me, if we are friends, you feel me, you kind of know what I prefer. And this way, when you are closer to the client, this way allows you to feel him or her rather than require all the time to have all the specific information. Because it is quite possible to try to write down a huge list of characteristics which would describe what I said. I want hot meat dished for the evening. And so it is possible, yes, but we are paying a huge amount of overhead just to specify this. If we know each other, you say, "Oh, Vitaly, I know what you want, I'll do it." And this approach is, I think, the reason why in Scrum, why in Agile, there is this focus on customer centricism, the focus on feeling the customer, not just knowing, but actually feeling them. And one of the practices that I particularly like, and I think it can be applied to every single company, well, except for those who produce guns, drugs, and medicine, dog fooding. Like you can be using your service as the first user. I actually have a sad story in my previous relationships with my ex-wife. I worked at Badoo then, and I was happy in the marriage then, but I had to use the Badoo app. It raised questions. I told her, "Don't worry, it's just for work." Well, so it's not always Badoo, it's the dating app, and the wife wasn't quite sure that it was a good choice for me. Anyway, what I'm saying that in most cases you can use your product, and in most cases you will empathize the users much more if you know this product, if you use it, if you are the daily user. Also, what I find very convenient and beneficial is participating in focus groups. I'm not sure about your company, how it's structured, but in many companies, product managers do have focus groups. They invite, they understand which users to combine in a group, to ask them something or to show them some prototypes, to do some client research, essentially. And in most cases, product managers, for some reason, don't even invite developers and QA engineers to these session. I'm not sure why. Maybe it is this focus on specialization, efficiency. You are the coder, you do the coding. I am the product guy, I will do the product development. But then, if you invite QA and if you invite developers to focus groups, they suddenly see first they're doing some real good stuff. Because when I helped some developers demo what they were doing to the real clients, and the clients were saying, "Oh wow, this is cool, this is solving our problems," developers were much more motivated after that, and they were proud of what they are building. And this is very, very important, because if you see a bug description in Jira, it is just some text. But if you know that this person, he put this bug, it is a real story behind this bug, a real story of pain. Or if you're using dog fooding, you know it's your pain. It's not just some average bug ticket in the bug tracking system. So this is about the feelings and empathy. There is also one thing about understanding what needs to be done. So I said that quality assurance means we must make sure we're building the right thing. So in order to do that, it is very important to agree in a team who is building the thing, what essentially you are building. I usually advise people to sit in a pair with a QA engineer before doing any work. I never saw QA engineers who disagreed with that. I never saw. Almost all of them say, "Oh, nice, okay, let's figure out what I will be testing as soon as you've done it." And this, in my experience, reduces the amount of returns when the tester returns tickets to development really, really, really significantly. And you know what's even more important, that when we put effort in our work, we value what we've done. And when someone says to us, "You've done the wrong thing, you misunderstood the ticket," it is painful, and you just wasted so much energy. So it's better to pair with the QA. You can do it as a testing requirements session where QA prepares almost a list of a test plan which he will or she will execute after you've done the coding. And also, before doing that, they sit with you and confirm the requirements. You explain to them what the requirements are, and the QA, explain to you what the requirements are. When you verbally discuss it or in writing discuss it, you make sure that you didn't just nod saying, "Yeah, I understood it," but you make sure that you actually understood it. And this now about the internal quality. I said that internal quality is the ability to consistently add value, to consistently do something good for the clients. I call it sustainability because we have to have a sustainable business, which I never saw a company which was open for a couple of months. Almost all the companies try to live longer, and this needs sustainability. I am not honestly sure. Does anyone use the TDD, test-driven development? Nice. Thank you. But I'm not sure why TDD is not like well spread, like why it is not for everyone. I have an idea that it is hard to start because it has to change something in your head. But then in test-driven development, you are forcing yourself to build just what's needed, nothing else. Like you're writing the test first, understanding the requirement in the task. You're writing the test for this requirement, it fails, you don't have anything to satisfy this test, and then you write the code. To me, this is mind shifting. Yeah, it is strange. It is hard sometimes on front end because you can't always test everything on front end. Sometimes it's hard. And yet, I think it's a good approach to try out at least. I'm quite hesitant to advise serious code coverage with unit tests because I saw quite a few projects where as soon as you have, like the Goodhart law, as soon as the number appears, you try to subconsciously and even unconsciously, you try to get it higher. because you think, oh, it's better to have higher coverage. And when you see it's going higher, you start writing worse tests. The unit tests are not, they don't make too much sense when you're just focusing on the percentage. But unit testing does allow some level of control. What I advise usually with unit tests, first, developers should write them, I think. And I think that developers should write them not to have pain in the future. Like if you're looking at this code and saying to yourself, this might be painful later. I might forget about it. I'm like, this is weird, this is strange, or this might be the source of a regression. So like someone else will touch some other place, this will break. So if you write, it will be potentially not even a unit test, but end-to-end test, but still, or integrational test, but still write automated tests for things you are worrying about, because computer can worry instead of you. And the last bit here is there are plenty of studies proving that if you sacrifice quality, you are increasing the costs of development. We all know technical debt. We all know when the code is painful to touch. When it is painful to touch, it costs more to touch it. It costs more to maintain. Unfortunately, managers rarely understand properly the economics of software development. We see this with deadlines and imposing estimations as deadlines and all the crazy stuff which happens with management around the world in IT. Same with quality. Oh, let's do another feature and then we will fix it. And then the next week, nah, it's working. Let's not fix it later. Sometimes people perceive software not as a knowledge system with lots of interconnections with people and with code, but as some bricks, like, okay, this brick will work for the next 10 years, this brick won't. So I urge you to remember that feeling when it's hard to touch the code, when it sucks to touch the code, and if you become an engineer, and if you choose the management career path, don't do that. Don't sacrifice quality. Why this talk? I think that everyone in every team, even a junior developer, can influence quality. I've seen people, one of my fellow junior developers, he introduced technical design phase. He saw that many developers were arguing on code review, arguing. And he saw that an average task takes 3 days to write, and then 2 or 3 days to argue about on code review. He said, why don't we agree on the technical plan before? So before the code, any development, QA and 2 engineers sat and drafted the plan, the technical plan for the feature, which would be 3 days. And then the guy or the girl who was writing the feature wrote it, and code review disappeared in their team. In a few months, when they realized, okay, this technical planning does allow us to synchronize before the coding, we don't need code review. So they reduced the whole time from start development to production, almost twice. And it was a junior developer. He had his eyes open and he volunteered and he came with a proposal to try it out. So anyone can influence quality. And I believe pride matters, pride of your labor, pride that you are working on something on something good. And even if you're not sure you're working on something good, I know a few people who have to feed their families and who don't like the companies where they work. But they still work there. It is junior developers. They are earning not much. They have to feed their families. But what they are proud of is that they're doing as much as possible and as well as possible at their work. Of course, there are constraints. Every single company has constraints, and every single company has some managerial drawback somewhere. But you can try to make your life better. Yeah, I promised to show this. This is one of the learning projects for the team of junior developers. It is the website of the dog shelter, stray dog shelter in Georgia, in Poti. If you want, you can have a look. Yeah, thank you.